Welcome, everybody. We are live. We are starting our webinar. We are happy to see you guys here. I'm here with Carrie Glassman. We are planning an amazing evening for you all. Carrie's there saying hi, and we just want to give you guys time to log in and say hello. So as you join, please put your name in the chat and let us know you're here. Say your name, say where you're from, and we can just get a read as to how many people are actually logged in and ready to go. It's going to be an exciting night. So we're going to give people just a few minutes to tune in. And Carrie, how's it going? Are you ready to go?
I'm so ready. I'm so excited. You know I always love chatting with you. So chatting with you with others is even more exciting. And I know you and I both are so passionate about this topic. So excited to talk with you and everyone else tonight. So excited to get some great questions and yeah.
Yeah, I think this is a great way to share expertise, and I love hearing what you have to say, and it's a topic that is so not only important, but so many people talk about it, and you have a gift of making things sound fresh and coming at it in a really different and unique way. And I'm excited for people to hear you. I'm sure there's a lot of people on that already know you, but to just have this conversation with you in a real and raw way that we can share our insights with all of these people. It's going to be exciting.
Oh, well, thank you. And I think that you too. I mean, you know, it's one of the things I think that the first time we met, I think that we just connected on so much was just there's so much synergy, I think, in the way we think about things, but when it comes to this topic, but also I felt the same way about you in the way that you present things and have such a unique way of sharing them and expressing them that really motivates and inspires people. So, you know, I love every time something comes out of your mouth, I say, I'm inspired. I feel good. So right back at you.
Good. Well, I think tonight's going to be a great night. I'm super excited. It looks like so many people are on. We have people from all over the world joining tonight. Some of them watching the recording because it's like 2 a.m. where they are, but I know we have a global audience, which is super exciting. And we have Pebbles, Nasima's here. Let's see. Who else? Elaine from New Jersey, Mary from Illinois, Tabitha from Vermont, Blanche, Jill from Greenwich, Connecticut. So many awesome, awesome, awesome people. Well, I don't want to wait too long to get into it. I think we should get started. And if anybody tunes in late, they can always watch the replay because we got a lot of information to cover and we want to get it in a timely manner. So I'll just officially get us started now. Hi, everybody. I'm Patricia Moreno, and I've invited Carrie Glassman, who is a nutritionist, a dietitian. She's an author. You probably have seen her on the Today Show. She's considered to be America's nutritionist. And what she also has is a nutrition school where you can actually get certified to become a nutritious. You can get, let me say this right, nutritious life coach certified. Is that right?
Yeah, nutritious life certified, exactly. To become a nutritious life certified coach. Yeah, that's right.
So you're gonna get to hear more about that later. And tonight, what we decided tonight was going to be about was talking about the recipe for thinner peace. And as we throw out that topic of thinner peace, I wrote a book a while ago called The 7 Secret Principles to Thinner Peace. And one of the reasons that I wrote it was because my whole early childhood was about extreme behaviors. I grew up on diets, and everything was extreme. I was either on a diet or off a diet. I was either binging or I was starving, and I didn't know how to live that middle of the road. And I was always trying to criticize myself into a new place. And I realized it didn't work. I wasn't happier. I wasn't maintaining my weight. And I felt like a total fraud. And so when I wrote this book, I wanted to write it from that perspective that thinner peace is a state of mind that we cultivate, and it's not based on the condition of our body. It's not based on our weight. It's not based on our age. It's not based on the size of our thighs. It's a mindset that we cultivate so that we can really be our healthiest and happiest selves all throughout our lives. You know, things change as we grow older, and we can get better as we grow older, and we can get stronger and more healthy. And that to me is what this is all about, developing those life skills where we just get better and better and better. So thinner peace to me means we've acquired that state of mind where we're choosing the foods that we want and we're choosing the exercise really just because we love ourselves, we care about ourselves, and it's not simply to just either get acknowledgement from other people or to try to compare ourselves with other people. So that's my idea of what thinner peace is. Carrie, you want to share yours?
Absolutely. First, I love what you said, and I always love. I've heard your story so many times, and every time I hear that story about your history, I'm so inspired because I do know how many struggles you had with diet and exercise and how you overcome it. It's just so. I always am inspired every time I hear it, and I think it's so incredibly helpful for so many people to hear that and know that you can overcome that cycle. And for me, thinner peace, it's really, I mean, it's obviously, it's so complex, but really, whittling it down, it really comes down to spending less emotional energy on food and spending it in all the other areas of life you want to spend it on. Because yes, if you're choosing a restaurant that you want to go to enjoy something and celebrate, that's good energy towards food, right? Or making a smoothie that you feel great about and putting good foods into your body. I always talk about empowered eating. That's good energy while you're making it. But so many people are so caught up in that cycle of where food just takes over all of their energy, where they're thinking about what am I going to eat, how much should I eat, how did that make me feel, oh, I feel gross, oh, I shouldn't eat that, or I have to not eat that tomorrow because I just ate that. So many of us have wrestled with that for years and I've had so many clients, friends, family members, people tell me that they're so tired of thinking about it and worrying about it. So to me, not having that emotional energy towards food is really thinner peace. And personally, for me also, I mean, I was sort of talking about people in general because I've seen so many clients, again, and friends struggle with that sort of wrestling match that I just talked about, but where it's not peaceful and it's all this energy going towards food that's draining and tiring. But even personally, I mean, that was my biggest struggle through my 20s. I'd say my teens and early 20s, most of my 20s was really that emotional up and down, all or nothing, black and white attitude towards food. I was starting a diet. I mean, a similar history, not exactly your history with diet and exercise, but similar, that off and on and starting and stopping, and so much emotional energy towards food and so much emotional eating. So thinner peace really to me is, like I just said, just less emotional energy towards food.
Oh my God, I think that's great because, and what I'm going to ask everybody on the line to do too is, when I was thinking about what is that vision for me, I was in that mindset of like, how come I just can't get there? That place where exactly what you're saying. There's not all this emotion around. There's just not all this criticism and guilt and trying to force myself. But what would that really look like? And what would I be doing? And what kind of choices would I be making if I really, and I use the word normal, and it kind of fits in with what you're saying, like, not that there is a normal, but when I would describe what normal is for me, normal for me would mean I didn't obsess about food, that I made choices based on what my body wanted, and I trusted that feeling, and that I could forget a meal once in a while. You know those people that say, I forgot to eat. I'm like, I want to just forget to eat. To not like try not to eat, but like be so engaged in my life that I end up the day, I'm like, oh, I didn't eat. How did I skip a meal? Like, to me, that was like, that's it. I want to have that. I want to be able to have one cookie and not eat the whole bag and then not just feel guilty about it. Just, to me, it kept coming up as normal. I just want to be normal. And
Yeah, I love that because that to me is right on with what I'm saying. Just that less energy towards it. That you're so wrapped up in your energy going towards something else that you are able to forget it. So you are able to forget that meal. So
yeah.
I had to jump in there because I love that was right on exactly what I was. Exactly.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. You had great, I mean, I think your words are great for that, because when you think of how much emotional energy we spend and we waste and obsess about in this area, and I know a lot of people do, and I want to just hear from you guys. I want to hear you guys put in the chat just what does thinner peace mean to you? Just a word or two, something that can trigger this vision for you that you can relate to, that as we talk through tonight, that you can just awaken within you. And then I want to do a little bit of just a quick meditation visualization. It's going to be super, super short, but I think it's important because so much of what both of us talk about is the importance of mindset and the attitude and the emotional well-being around food. So put your ideas in the chat box. We want to hear, what does thinner peace mean to you? Healthy relationship with all food. Good. That's awesome. Calm thoughts towards eating, accepting, and content with yourself. Great. Great. Food as fuel. Freedom, somebody wrote. Good. These are great. So it's good to contemplate and to ask yourself, what is the vision of me living this life of thinner peace? What happens in this life of thinner peace? What are those? How do I know when I've already reached it? What are those characteristics? I used to think of one as like just one chip, like, and then it doesn't stay on my mind anymore. Just like no attachment. Like just somebody wrote, food is fuel, balance, looking your best, ridding yourself from emotional eating, eating to fuel and care for your body, freedom from using food as an emotional comfort or filling a void, eating healthy food and loving it, feeling balanced. Good. Mindfulness, Samantha says.
These are great.
Yeah, these are great. These are really, really great. So if you have a pen or a paper, take a second to jot down a couple of things. Just a couple of things. Like I said, I can eat one cookie and it doesn't stay on my mind. I forget to eat a meal. I enjoy eating good food. So write a couple of those things down. And then let's just take really like 30 seconds to close your eye. Before you close your eyes, do this. Take your index finger and just tap your third eye. Your third eye is the sixth chakra, and when the sixth chakra is activated, you can see a vision for yourself. You see a bigger picture. It's easier to see yourself in a vision of success. So think about the color indigo and think about this third eye opening so that you can plant the seeds of the future self that you are now stepping into. And then take a big deep breath in and hold it. Sip in a little bit more air and smile like you're inviting good in. Sip in a little more air. And then exhale and keep your eyes closed for a second. And imagine you have like this miner's cap on and there's a light that's coming from the third eye. It's going narrow to wide and it's projecting out into your future. And you can now see your future self, your thinner peace self. Now look at her and what is she doing and how does she look? What is she eating? How is she walking? What is she wearing? Get some defining characteristics and welcome her here. And as you see her, like mentally affirm, yes, this is who I am. This is who I am. And as we see this vision of ourselves, we're literally planting the seeds. Without the seeds being planted, we have no right to think we can reap what we don't sow. So now, tonight, I want you to say to yourself, I am going deep within myself to make a powerful and lasting positive change. I accept my power to make these powerful and lasting changes willingly and lovingly. And take a big deep breath in and exhale. Excellent. Beautiful job. Beautiful job. So I think we should get right into it. And I think, so what we're going to do tonight is we're going to go back and forth, and Carrie's going to give her first tip, then I'll give mine, and we'll just get through our 8 tips, and you guys can ask questions at the end. So write your questions down. Whatever you want us to answer, we'll answer them at the end so we don't lose track and don't lose our time for our 8 tips. Terry, you want to start?
Okay, perfect. I will start. Wasn't sure if you were starting. I was starting. Sorry. Okay, and I'm so relaxed now. I had such a good visualization. I was just so relaxed, visualizing myself so peaceful. I forgot I was supposed to get going here. Okay, so I'm going to get away from that total emotional place for a moment, or I should say, the more emotional, the good emotional side, because I feel like we were very, we just were in that good little meditation there, and visualization, and it felt beautiful and mushy and delicious and inviting and all that. But I'm going to get a little practical for a moment. Because
Right.
we need just to be a little not that that's not practical, that is practical, but I'm going to go to the total practical, the non-emotional side here. And one part about because there is obviously there when it comes to thinner peace and all the things we've just talked about and all the comments we got and everything, Patricia, that you had said and the things that I said with thinner peace means to me, it really is all mindset and emotions. And it is, but in order to be able to manage those emotions and keep our emotions in the right place and set ourselves up for success, we have to just have also some practical things in place. And some of that we forget about or we know about doing, but we don't do it regularly. So, and we've heard it before, but we don't always do it, which is why I wanted to bring it up. Being prepared. Now, it sounds so simple, like, oh, yeah, being prepared, I've heard it before. But how many of you are truly as prepared as you should be? How many of you practice a real art of preparation? You
Mm.
might know, okay, I have to go to the grocery store, but how many of you, I should go to the grocery store on Sunday. How many of you go to the grocery store religiously on that same day, whether it's Saturday or Sunday, whichever day you know to set yourself up for success for the week? How many of you have a structured go-to grocery list? How many of you truly come home from the grocery store and plan that half an hour after to cut up those vegetables, to make them look pretty in the fridge, so that when you open your fridge, they look pretty and inviting, and you're motivated to eat those, red peppers? How many, so all of those things, many of us know, but we're not doing it, right? So what I really want you to do is think about, what does being prepared mean to you, and what are 3 things you can do to start to be prepared, and not just be prepared, one time, but those 3 things that you can do and do them so consistently that they change not just your behavior for those few days, but they change your behavior for 7 days a week, because those few things that you put into place enable you to be prepared all the time. I mean, it can be something, as simple as you might come home after work and you walk into the kitchen and you start to, let's say, pick. Well, maybe if you're prepared and you have it mapped out, this could just be one example. You have mapped out exactly what you're having for dinner that night, and you know that you have, let's say, fresh, beautiful vegetables ready to go in the fridge, and that's what you go for every night when you come home. So that's the type of thing, again, that it's not so profound, it's not so new, but we're not doing them. So I want everybody to write down, to think about areas of your life that you're not prepared, that are having a detrimental effect. It could be just going to the vending machine every afternoon, or being starving in the afternoon and grabbing something again when you walk in the door. And maybe it's just something as simple as having portioned out nuts every single afternoon at your office. It could be simple things, but what are the things that you are not doing that you can now create 3 behaviors, 3 ways to be prepared consistently, so they can help you, 7 days a week. And again, you want to be able to make those things habit. So I want you to think of those 3 things. And this isn't the emotional side, and we'll get into the emotional side because I love that. I love that part of this too. But some of this, in order to put our emotions can sometimes always get the best of us. So what I always say is, when you're prepared, you're setting yourself up for success. So when you set yourself up for success, even if you're really feeling cranky, you at least have a chance of succeeding and getting through that moment. But if, let's say, you're having that cranky moment where you normally go for something like those chips. Now, Patricia, you've got chips on my head. We were talking about it in my mind, I should say. So, but if you're not prepared, then forget it. I mean, you've got no shot. But if you're prepared, you can get through those moments, and that can push you forward.
Yeah, I think that's awesome. I think that really, and when you were saying, this is not a big deal, or this is something you've heard before, I just want to pinpoint something about that too. It's not that complicated.
Right.
Succeeding is not that complicated. It is simple. And what you said, Carrie, is it's simple, but are you doing it? Are you doing it? And I love what you said too about, just pick those three things, because my tip, and I'm going to kind of springboard off of that, is one of the tip is to narrow it down. And as Carrie's saying, and I love the idea of just being prepared, because when you're someone who emotionally eats and when you're someone who is on the fly, of course you're going to pick those things that are going to soothe your emotions. But if you have stuff there that's inviting and you actually enjoy, and then you go and eat it and you have those wins little by little by little, you build that muscle. And remember, we're here talking about a habit, creating new habits, so that then this becomes easy. But my first tip is to really get clear on whether you are interested in creating a life of thinner peace, or are you invested? Are you interested? When you're interested, you do what's easy. But when you're invested, you do whatever it takes. And as we started off the call, it's so taxing and it's so tiring and it takes so much energy away from what we really want when we're not invested in creating habits that can make this easy. So ask yourself, what is one habit? Could you stick to, could you focus on preparing this month and really getting that grocery list down and having your refrigerator full of great things? And then ask yourself, can I just do this? Can I invest my energy in just getting this as a regular practice so that it's just easy? The things you do now are easy just because you've done them all the time. That's it. It's just because you've done them so many times that breaking that habit is now going to take some effort. But if you apply the effort, it's going to become easy. So preparation, I agree, is major, major. And just get clear and write it down somewhere. I am invested. And when you write whatever habit, if preparation is going to be yours, make sure you tell people. Make sure you write those lists. Make sure you build that muscle and be consistent for 30 days so that you can invest that positive energy into an outcome that's going to make it so much easier for you in the future.
I love,
Back.
yeah, I love that. But I love what you just said there. It's so true. Interested versus invested. And that's so key, because I always ask people that when people come into my office and they want to make changes, I always say, like, where does the motivation really come from? Like, where is that real motivation? Because everybody wants to lose a little weight. Everybody wants to be healthier. But are you, like you said, I always say, where's that motivation? But I like the way you said it in terms of how invested are you. That's really fantastic. So my next tip is, I'm going to tell a little story here. So I was looking at a food journal of a client, and I saw, so she'd had pizza at lunch, and then that night she had, it was a big decadent dinner, and there was a bunch of things on there. There was a little bit of steak and a little bit of fries and a little bit of a tiramisu. I mean, there was just a big meal out, you could tell. Okay, and so I went through and I said, so what happened? Like, what was going on during this day? And she said, well, the pizza happened because I knew that I was going to overeat at dinner. So I said, wait a second. Wait. I said, what? I said, so you indulged at lunch because you already decided you were going to overconsume at dinner. And she was like, yeah, totally. I do that a lot. So I said, because I've seen people, we all know many people have that all or nothing attitude, that throw in the towel attitude, that, they eat one thing and say, oh, I'm starting again tomorrow, which is why I always say, I always talk about, every meal's a Monday morning. You need to compartmentalize. So even if you overconsume on a Saturday afternoon because you're at some brunch and you ate too much, so you have to take every meal individually. Every meal is its own individual opportunity to eat well. And again, that's sort of just being mindful, being in the moment, being in the present. So even if you ate a big indulgent meal Saturday afternoon, or you were on the run and you had to grab whatever it was, you sit down to that dinner, you still can have that planned wonderful dinner that you're planning on having. You don't have to wait till Monday and completely sabotage yourself, right? I always say, compartmentalizing, to be in the present. So compartmentalize that meal, that snack, move on from the past, move on from whatever just happened, because that is, you've eaten it, right? So you have to be able to compartmentalize. But I always use that example of that client, the client that ate that pizza, because that's just so, I mean, that's just the extreme of already over consuming before you even get to the dinner. I said, what about having like a great meal at lunch, feeling good, not depriving yourself knowing you're going out to dinner, but just having a great meal and feeling amazing, fueling your body, feeling empowered, putting healthy foods in your body, and then having a great healthy snack even before you went to that big meal, so you didn't go in starving and you felt empowered, saying, I can't wait, I know they're going to have a big good vegetables on the menu as well. Like, you threw in the towel, you sabotaged yourself. You were literally mean to your body before you even gave yourself a chance. So I just think that's an extreme example of that. But being able to compartmentalize is really key. And one other little part there is, very often I think, people can do that with, let's say, breakfast. Okay, so having a great breakfast. All right, and I've got my good snack, and then I get to lunch. But then sometimes by the afternoon, people get thrown off, whether they're at home eating, and they pick at their kids' snacks, or they're in the office and they go to the vending machine, or you're just, your day is going on, you're getting a little tired, you're out of your routine. So what I always say, another part of compartmentalizing is, again, being in the present of the moment for whichever meal, whether it's, breakfast, snack, dinner, even an after dinner snack if you have one. Being in the present, what's that best option? So sometimes I tell people for that afternoon period of time to think of that as almost like the beginning of the day. To have that same energy to rah Monday morning, or rah breakfast, at your 3 o'clock snack that you do. But so you sort of have to like build up that energy again and just get like excited to have that, let's say, beautiful sliced apple with a little cinnamon and 2 teaspoons of almond butter, or whatever it might be. But just be as excited for that, to fuel your body that well. So compartmentalize and have that great positive energy towards, your afternoon snack to set up the rest of the day. Because I promise you have that afternoon snack, or you have that cup of tea, or whatever it is, even if you don't have a snack in the afternoon, not everybody needs it, but you'll have that good energy going into the rest of the night. So because many people, again, start good in the morning. So there's a lot of different facets to compartmentalizing. So I brought up a few different topics there. And again, we could talk about that for a whole hour by itself. So I'm going to stop there, but I really just wanted to focus on, again, that compartmentalizing.
Oh, it's so funny. We're vibing. We didn't check our tips before, but we're vibing so well. I tend to stick more to the mindset, right? And the practicality of it. And you go with the practicality. It's a good combination. So my second rule was, don't put off feeling good. Don't put off feeling good. And that, just like you said, we can get into these states where we don't feel good, and then we eat things that make it worse, so that we can kind of, at least for me, I used to use food as a numbing agent, right? So I would go into a binge and just go into just tune out, just completely tune out, so that I couldn't watch what I was doing. But what I realized was, if I could still just remember that whatever I'm deciding to eat, I'm going to decide to eat it consciously. So even if it's something extravagant, if it's something that it's not on my great day program, right? I go out to dinner with friends, and like you said, you have the tiramisu or you have the pizza, and it can take me off into this whole self-criticism loop of, I can't believe I ate that, and why did I do that again, and I don't have any willpower, and how come? And that conversation just fuels more of the negativity that makes you want to eat more, because you want to try to numb that feeling that you feel so disgusted about overeating in the first place. At least that's what I used to do. And so I thought of 2 things that really helped me interrupt that pattern of going downhill into a spiral of, just like you gave that example of your client. Well, what's the difference? I'm already blue this day. So why don't I just really blow it? Because tomorrow I'm just going to start and never, ever eat that again. So don't put off feeling good to means 2 things. No matter what you're eating, this is a great tip that works well for me, is if it's a candy bar, if it's an ice cream, if it's salad, if it's a juice, I take a moment and I rub my hands together and I pause and I literally bless the food. whatever it is. There's a moment that I'm making this choice. I am accepting it. I am not eating guilt. I'm not eating shame. I'm not eating criticism. I'm not numbing myself. I am stepping into this relationship with this thing that I'm about to eat consciously, and I am deciding, choosing to eat this. I am choosing it. I am awake. And in this moment, when I do this and I pause, it changes how I relate not only to the food, but I don't put off feeling good. I can then taste what I'm eating. I can then enjoy that indulgence. And then I can interrupt that pattern of guilt and shame that's like, I call it the hungry ghost that never gets enough anyway. And so when you just say, I'm going to feel good about this, I'm going to feel good as it goes in, I'm going to feel good when it's in, and when it's done, I am done. I'm not going to carry that guilt and shame with me. That's it. That's the agreement I make with myself, and that's the agreement I make with the foods that I choose. I don't put off feeling good, and I accept the choices that I make.
I love that. That's fantastic. I love that. And and again, we didn't even talk about our points beforehand. I think because we are always like so in sync. This is so fun. My next tip was going to be eating from an empowered mindset. And for any of you who know, what I talk about in my practice and what I talk about for years, it's a nutritious life. It's not all about the food. It's about all these other factors. But when it comes to the food, I always say it's about managing your stress and stressing less and drinking up and all these other aspects that affect your what I always say is when you're feeling good, when you sleep well, you feel better in the morning, you're more motivated to eat well, and when you eat well, you're more motivated, let's say, to go to the gym and drink your water, and then you release stress and you're more relaxed and you sleep better. So it's this beautiful cycle. But when it comes, so all of those other factors are so important, and they're so important for keeping your mind in the right place. But when it comes to the food part of that, you want to eat from an empowered place, right? And so it goes a lot with what you were just talking about, Patricia. But I would say eat from an empowered place, from a I can have this, and I always say, like you were talking about, like blessing the candy bar or whatever it is. It's sort of that same thing. I always say, you just always say, like, I can have that, bag of chips. I can have, see, I'm sticking with the chip thing. I can have those 10 candy bars. So I can have all of that, but I want to, and I want to give my body, these beautiful blueberries or whatever else is there, like, and I can have those blueberries. I can have those. So it's like almost, not tricking your mind. Because I don't want to say that you're tricking your mind, but you're shifting your mind into saying, like, I can be good to my body, and those blueberries. Forget about the weight loss part. Those blueberries are good for my heart, and they're good for my mind, and they're good for my skin. And oh, guess what? A byproduct might be the weight loss, but it's all about the I can, right? So you're eating from an empowered place, and it's not I can't. It's all negative energy. Why I hate the term, willpower. It's all negative. Like when you just, it's negative energy. Negative energy when you're talking about food, right? So it's the same thing as when I talk about the empowered mindset. I also I just lost my train of thought with that one because I was thinking about those blueberries. But you want to eat from that place of empowerment. Oh, this was the other thing I was just going to say on that was, we always talk about, with people too. You don't want to give your power to other people, right? So when people, let's say something to you, I mean, many of us have been taught, don't let them change how you feel about yourself. Like, you have the power, right? Don't give someone else the power to make you feel differently about yourself. You know who you are. You know how great you are. You keep that power. Right, and we're many of us have heard that and think about that and know that as we get older. I mean, and I think we're always a work in progress there. But when it comes to food, so many of us have given all of our power to the food. So back to those, candy bars. What I would say, we want to eat from a place of empowerment, and sometimes just reminding yourself of that. Like, wait a minute, that's a candy bar, or that's a bag of chips. I'm a human being. I can't give that candy bar all this power over me to make me feel bad or to make me have to eat it. So say no, like, you're nothing. You're just a candy bar. I'm a powerful human being.
I
So
love that.
remember that power and feel empowered all around.
I love that. I love when you say, I choose the food, it doesn't choose me.
Yeah.
So good. It's so good. And it comes back to that just like staying present and not using food as a way to escape and to start to figure out when you are using food as an escape, what is it that you're avoiding so that you can start to, like for me, a big access to making change in my life was learning how to speak up for myself and have and ask for what I wanted. Ask for what I wanted, ask for what I needed, say no when I mean no, say yes when I mean yes. Because every time, I'm a people pleaser. Used to be very much just like I want people to like me. I want people to think I'm nice. I don't want to cause any conflict. I don't want to have critical conversations, right? I didn't feel like I had the ability to convey what I really needed or wanted in a very graceful way. But I realized that that was one of the big reasons that I used food was because I would say yes when I meant no, and then I would feel like I had no power and no control. And so it was a dynamic that created with food when I learned to just say no when I mean no and ask for what I needed, that really shifted so much of that energy that I was trying to cover up with food. And so it's my third tip is to be able to say yes, and it's very similar to what you just said, but to say yes and yes and yes, I'd like to have that food. Yes, I'd like to have that candy bar, and I'm not going to have it because I choose to feel really good instead. Yes, I'm tired and I want to skip the gym, and I'm going anyway. Yes, I want to eat more and I'm stopping because I actually am satisfied and I can have more later. Because so much of the mindset of dieting is deprivation. I can't, I don't want to, or kind of lying to ourselves, or like how you used willpower, forcing ourselves to do something and trying to fight or punish or push ourselves to be something different. But when we acknowledge how we really feel and when we acknowledge what's really there, instead of trying to just cover it up and force, we start to tap into that level of compassion that we are human beings, we have feelings, and we want to be able to be in touch with those feelings and not ignore them. So, this yes and to me was something that gave me that muscle to be able to acknowledge, well, how do I really feel? Yeah, it's true. I don't feel like doing that, but I'm going to do it because it's a choice that I'm making. So, learning to say what's true for you, but also not letting your emotions dictate or not letting the food choose you. So, very similar as in your third tip as well.
Yeah, I love that. That's really powerful. And that's a really good tool. I think that everybody can just start putting into practice right away. That yes and like we can all start doing that. I mean, right now, right? Tonight,
Mhm.
tomorrow morning. I mean, that's something we can just really start doing. And I think it is good because you're honoring your feelings and also then pushing yourself forward for growth. I love that. So my last tip is about support. You really have to, and again, something like you think about. Of course, we all know we need support, but do you really? And this actually goes back to your last tip, I guess. Do you really ask for it? Are you really focused on the people that are supporting you on this journey? And and getting rid of the people that aren't supportive, or maybe not getting rid of completely. You can't always do that, but but at least not. But being aware of that, even getting rid of that energy with them. So, for example, if you know there are people that aren't supportive, and may even be people that sabotage you slightly on this journey, or make you feel bad, that actually affect you, and not even just about food or weight, but just might not make you feel good. So when you go to a meal to them, it's a trigger. So whether it's you want to zone in on the people that support you, and really, like you were saying, asking for things, ask for that support, put that out there to them, but then also zone in on and write and be very aware of the people who aren't supportive. So then when you are either hopefully you can distance that yourself from that energy, but if you have to be around that energy, you're prepared for that, and and it's sort of just being aware and knowing I'm not letting that energy into this bubble around me. I am in a good zone. I'm in a good place, and maybe calling upon the support of others. So really, so again, so it's people support, but then it's also just even things, I talk a lot about one of the pillars of a nutritious life is living consciously, and part of that is your environment, and not the world around you, yes, but also just your actual environment. Everything, I mentioned your refrigerator a little bit before, making it look beautiful. You're more motivated to eat, beautiful things out of it, right? You're more motivated to eat those peppers if they're in a beautiful little glass container in the fridge. But that's one thing, but even your desk environment or your bedroom, is it peaceful? Is it calm? Someone mentioned that a path to a recipe for thinner peace means, calm thoughts. Well, when you have when you're in an environment that's not calming, that's not that. And again, for everybody, that's different, by the way. Some people like things, very neat. Some people like things bright. Some people like things different. So for whatever it is for you, it can be different. But what's that environment that feels calm, that feels peaceful, that feels supportive of putting you in the right mode? Again, it could even be, it can be essential oils, it can be a candle, it can be having certain books near your bed that you can, or near your desk that you open up and you just like read a quote that just is inspiring and keep you in the right zone. So there's lots of ways to support yourself in your environment and with people, but making sure you tap into that and write those things down and be aware of that, so you also can be prepared. Again, it goes back to my first tip of being prepared. So be prepared with your support and ask for that support and set yourself up with the support you need.
So good. You're reminding me of a quote that says, show me your friends and I'll show you your future.
Oh, that's beautiful. I love that.
Yeah, because this is not my fourth tip, but I'm going to, because I like my fourth tip too. But I want to just kind of add on to that a little bit. Look around you and see if you are surrounded by people that are doing it well. Like, surround yourself with people who are succeeding in the areas that you want to succeed. We tend to really take on and hang out with people who are like us. And if you want to grow, you have to hang out with people that are doing it better than you are. It's like you want to hang out with people that are smarter than you. You want to hang out with people who have healthier habits than you, who are better at this game already. And surround yourself with these people, but really take your time. Take some time to look around and notice if you see someone doing it well. Take a little more time to investigate, because on the outside, some people look like they're doing it well, but they might be really obsessed or over what's the word I want? Too strict or something. So you want to look at the whole picture about who's doing it well and why are they your role models. Don't just look at how they look. Don't just look at the shape of their body. Look at how they live their life. Look at how much joy and peace they have. Look at the language that they use about themselves. Listen in and really look for those people that are great role models for you. And just like you would study someone who is running a business like you want to be running, investigate, model, look, wonder. Ask them, how do you do that? How did you develop that lifestyle? And then really get yourself around people who are succeeding at this and make it look easy, so that you can start to it can be easy. It doesn't have to be a struggle. You don't have to force yourself. So find your friends and remember that quote, show me your friends, I'll show you your future.
I love that. I love that.
That's good, right? Okay, so I'm going to stick in my last tip on there. This one is really important, and again, it's a mindset one. But I want you to think about never, ever focusing on losing weight. Never focus on losing weight. If your focus is purely on losing weight, it's likely that your inner mantra and your inner conversation is revolving around what you don't want.
Yeah.
so fat, I have to lose weight. I weigh this much, I wish I didn't. I got to go to the gym and work out. My thighs are too big. So if you understand the power of language and the power of visualization and manifesting, there are two ways to look at your life. One is you're looking at what you don't want, where you don't want to go. And this is where how most of us think about ourselves. We think about where I don't want to be, what I don't want to have anymore. I don't want to have this weight anymore. I don't want to weigh this anymore. I don't want to have this obsession with food anymore. But you're not focusing on what you do want. And this kind of what I don't want, you get two steps forward and then you get pulled right back because you're only focused on what you don't want. You have to have this compelling, exciting, and beautiful vision about what you do want. And you have to be able to affirm that this is already who you are, even in some tiny, tiny way. I am healthy. I am energized. I am someone who loves to eat well. I am someone who takes care of myself. And so when you shift from focusing on losing weight to affirming who you are now being, now it's the being that informs the actions because you're always there. We have a need to remain consistent with our self-concept. So I talk about this often because, as I shared at the beginning, I was someone who was on a diet from third grade. I was always overweight. By the time I was 12, I was 220 pounds. And I was on a diet this whole time. So when I got older and I got to be able to be in control of my life, I was always saying, I'm fat, I have to go work out. I'm fat, I have to go on a diet. I'm fat, I need to do more exercise. And I realized that that one shift, if I'm fat, I'm always fat. I can't be fat and then be thin. I have to awaken my being of I'm someone now, I eat healthfully. I am someone who exercises regularly. I am someone who takes care of my body. Period, no matter what weight I'm at. So please stop talking about losing weight. Stop talking about what you don't want in your life and really affirm where you do want to go and what part of that you're actually already doing. Even if it's just a tiny bit, affirm that and claim that and recognize that and celebrate that and talk about that. And I'm a person who eats well. I'm a person who takes care of myself. I'm a person who exercises. It's just who I am. And then you'll find that that will start to become stronger and you'll have that vision that will compel you and inspire you. And you won't have to force yourself to take actions and deprive yourself and try to force yourself to become who you really want to be. So that's my fourth tip.
I love that. I love that so much. I sometimes tell my clients to walk around, sort of like walk around with an attitude. Like I'm like the healthiest eater on the planet. I eat breakfast every day. I like it's so funny. So many things you're saying. Like I love the way you say all those things because it's true. You got to like tell yourself like that's who you are. I love all those tips.
Yeah. Did we do our 4 and 4?
We did.
We did. So write in the chat box which tips for you. Give us some ideas of which tips for you resonated. Which ones are you going to implement? Like we're going to be your accountability right now. Put them in the chat so everybody can see what are you inspired by that you're actually going to take from here. We do not want to just give you information. We want to inspire you to actually take action. Information is useless and this evening is useless if you don't leave here and tonight put some of this into action. We don't want this to be a waste of your time. So I want to put some things in the chat box, or if you have any questions, anything in particular you'd like us to either expand on, or if you want to hear more about it, or if you have a question. So never focus on look for authentic role models just from looking at what you don't want. You have the power over food. Annie says she likes that one. Heidi says shift from looking at what you don't want to what you do want. Liz says not trying to lose weight. Annie says every meal is a Monday. Sharon says you're horrible at telling yourself you're fat. Well, stop it. Stop it, stop it, stop it. Blessing your food and prepare yourself for success, that it's in your control and that you want to be prepared, be present, and acknowledge your feelings, being invested in actually preparing healthy food. Very good. I love yes and very good. I like the 3 ways to better prepare. Awesome. Awesome. So I want you guys to really take a few moments after tonight and sit with all this info. Don't just rush off and do something. Like, be respectful about all of this wisdom and all of this knowledge. And no matter, like we said, there's nothing too simple. You didn't get where you are overnight. You're not going to change overnight. It's the slow and consistent steps that you take. So we're looking for questions. If anybody has any questions, we're also going to share with you things we have coming up that we want to invite you to, that we want you to be a part of. So he said, all great tips. Don't put off feeling good, Kendra says. Focus more of what you do want and visualize it. Wendy says she enjoyed it very much. Whatever you decide to eat, do it extravagantly. All good stuff. All good stuff. You're invested. Awesome. Don't you love this technology?
I love hearing all of these, and I don't actually see what everybody's comments on my end over here, so I'm just listening to you reading off all the comments. I'm loving all of them.
Make food look good in the fridge. Okay, so Liz has a question. Her question is about working out. I hear so much about back and forth, about weight loss, don't work out too much, etc., because then you're too hungry. Oh, okay, so Liz, great question. So I think we can both answer. We'll both speak to that. Did you get the question, Carrie?
Yeah, exercising and then getting too hungry.
Yeah, yeah. So I agree. I mean, exercise definitely makes me hungrier, but stop focusing on losing weight. Separate exercise and weight loss. They're two different things. You'll never exercise enough to burn every calorie that you ever ate. They're just two different things. You exercise for health, you exercise for energy, you exercise to strengthen your body, you exercise because your body needs it, you exercise because you want to release stress. Don't exercise just to lose weight. Exercise because it's important. Your body needs it. Your body's meant to move. And find something you just love to do. I do agree that it does make me hungrier, but it also makes me less stressed. It also makes me nicer. It also helps me think better. It helps me not yell and lose my cool with my kids. So I invite you to look at exercise a little bit differently, and that it's just something you do every day so that you can thrive and feel energized and bright and youthful. I hope I sold you on that.
Yeah, well, I'm going to add one thing there too. I always say that exercise and diet is a difficult dance, but it's a dance we want to do, right? We need to fuel ourselves, and we absolutely, like you said, should be exercising. So, and like you said, you do get slightly hungrier, but I think you're so spot on. If you're exercising, I would say exercise for an exercise goal. Not, like you said, not for weight loss. So exercise for an exercise goal if you have to have that goal, whether it's to, do X amount more push-ups or to run faster or further. And then, of course, for all the other benefits you talked about, for obviously feeling better, being less stressed. I mean, I always say, running and exercising to me, I mean, that's been my biggest form of therapy my entire life. Thank God for it. My children thank my exercise, like you said, very much so. But when you exercise for exercise sake and you're fueling and listening to your body, you're not thinking, oh, I'm that much hungrier. You might be a little bit hungrier, but it might just be an extra, small handful of nuts. But you needed that fuel, and you're not saying, oh my God, I'm starving, I exercise, and then over consuming.
Yeah.
Just that little bit. So it is a dance. You are eating maybe a little bit more, but not diving into a thing, a pie of pizza because you exercised and you're starving. If you deprived yourself of food and then you're exercising, yeah, you are going to be famished. But if you're exercising, like you said, for all the other exercise benefits, and you're listening to your body and fueling yourself consistently, you just might be eating a little bit more, but the right foods. And again, you'll have a nice dance.
But you know what else? What else is also really important to remember is often when you're hungry, you're thirsty. So if you're exercising more, this is the tip that I think is really one of those cornerstone tips that is everybody talks about it, but are you doing it? And get real. Are you drinking enough water? I've read that you drink half your body weight in ounces. I don't know what you say as far as how much water you can drink, but water is like the best elixir of everything. I know
Water.
I have like a whole big bottle, but water. Are you drinking the water? Often I'm hungry, and I know it's lack of I'm dehydrated.
Yep. Great point to bring up.
So let's look at Jacqueline. Jacqueline says, "Do you have any tips when you're craving for snacks at night and when you're sitting watching TV?" She says, "I eat healthy all day, and I always run it with late night mindless snacking."
Oh,
What
I have so many thoughts on that one.
you do?
Well, yeah. Well, one thing I was going to say, the first thing I would say there is what I usually ask people when they're snacking at night. First, take a look at your day. And sometimes if people are truly hungry at night, you're not eating enough during the day. So if you said you eat really healthy, well, to eat really healthy, do you eat enough? Do you eat enough protein? Do you eat enough healthy fat through the day? Sometimes people get hungry every night after dinner because they haven't fueled themselves properly through the day. If you are fueling yourself through the day and then after dinner, if it's absolutely has nothing to do with hunger, then you need to do something else. You don't eat in front of the TV. Maybe you knit in front of the TV. Maybe
Ah, that's
you put
good.
moisturizer on your hands, and you moisturize your hands, and then you put even gloves on or something to moisturize even further, or you do something like that, but you do something else, or you sip a cup of tea while you're watching TV, but you
Mm.
don't eat if it's absolutely no hunger. If there's true hunger, then you can have a snack that's if it's true hunger, you have a controlled portion snack. I mean, even something after dinner, maybe it's something like half of it, and I'm only saying a half because it might just be a teeny bit of hunger. I'm not saying you can't have a whole apple, but maybe it's like a sliced apple. And I actually told the client this today, to slice the apple really thin, put it in the oven with a little bit of cinnamon for a few minutes, even just to warm it up. You don't have to do a whole fancy baked apple, but it's just a way to enjoy that a little bit more. Eat it in thin slices, or even a cucumber salad. So you want to just have a couple items that are controls. I would say these are your food controls. If you have true hunger, there's not true hunger, you have to have non-food controls. But also take a look at your day. You might actually need a little more fuel during the day if you're having like real hunger.
Oh, I think that's so great. So I want to also add on to that a little bit too. I would try to break the habit of having to eat while you watch TV anyway, because that mindless eating, it's just you get so much in that you don't even know where it went. You didn't taste it. You're done and you finished off something, and then it's just like, and breaking that habit is really a good idea. And I love what you said. Putting the lotion on your hands, massaging your feet, stretching, doing things that really keep you busy, and or drinking the tea or drinking something warm, or just having your things that are allowed. I mean, I like to say allowed because then it feels like you're not, but remember, you're creating a mindset of thinner peace. You're deciding what would you be proud of, how would you love to finish your evening and say, if there was a camera on you and you're like, yeah, this is what I'd be proud of. This is what I feel good. And then have your list, like Carrie said, of the snacks. I love the cucumber. Just cutting up a whole cucumber and putting lemon on it. It's very alkalizing. It's very cooling. It's almost like eating water, and it's fantastic for you. So finding those things that aren't triggers, that who's going to eat a mound of broccoli? You're not going to overeat so many cucumbers or broccoli or something, but have snacks that are allowed in front of the TV. So in case you go to mindless eating, it doesn't matter, but you're not likely going to eat a whole bag of broccoli, or you will polish off a bag of chips. So find your snacks that are TV approved, and then go for the foot massage instead. Let's see who else has a question. Let's answer one more question. Um, Nasima asks, do veggies lose their nutrition when they are cut?
Well, they do oxidize slightly, but you're not going to lose much nutrition if you're cutting them. I mean, if the longer they're cut up, the more they're exposed. They are oxidizing, but they're not. I mean, I always tell people if they whatever they are losing, if cutting them up ahead of time means you're going to get them in, that's much more important. And usually that's the same thing even when it comes to cooking vegetables. People say, do they lose their nutritional value? Well, sometimes they even gain a little bit of nutritional benefits, but when they even do, let's say, lose some by cooking, then, but if that's going to get you to eat a big bowl of broccoli, let's say, or to eat those roasted peppers, then that's a good thing, and you want to enjoy your food. So the little bit of nutrition that you might lose, you're you're really gaining more by consuming those vegetables.
Ah, that's good. Because it's not, and go back to and I think we'll wrap it up after this, but the other thing that I always like to bring up is crowding out, right? So when you are eating those extra vegetables, it's not just what you are eating, but it's what you're not eating because you're eating that. You're crowding out all of those other things. And so you're not necessarily having to deprive yourself, but you're getting so full on the good stuff, there's just not even room for the other stuff.
Exactly. Yeah. Perfect point.
Awesome. So we're going to wrap it up, everybody. We're going to share with you some things we have coming up. Carrie, will you talk to us a little bit about your nutrition school?
Yes. So I started about a year and a half ago the nutrition school where you become Nutritious Life certified. We open up the school about 3 times a year, and we are launching our next class in February. It's almost February. I can't believe it. In a few weeks. We cannot wait. So we're actually taking applications now. We are just about in early enrollment period. You can go to my site, nutritiouslife.com, and go to the certification page and apply now. So if you are a health and wellness guru or just a lover of it, super passionate about it, want to jump into the field, maybe you're in the field, maybe you're a yoga instructor, Pilates instructor, or you just have a love of it, maybe you're a health coach, or you're just passionate about health and wellness. You don't have to be doing any of those things. You're just super passionate about it and want to learn more. It's a 12-week course that I do all online, self-taught, so you do it at your own time. And we have an amazing Facebook community where everybody is super active, involved. I love the community aspect of it because everybody in the program, it is an application-based program, so everybody in the program is so uber passionate about health and wellness and helping and supporting each other, whether it's just becoming more educated in nutrition or growing your health and wellness business. So it's really been so much fun, and I always say this was really my dream project. I've done a lot of different things in my career, but this really was the dream because I always said that I wanted to reach as many people as possible and help them take their nutrition and wellness up a notch. And through the nutrition school, I get to reach others that are reaching others, help them take their nutrition and wellness up a notch. So super fun. And yeah, thank you, Patricia, for letting me share.
Yeah, I just also want to add to that, that's about investing, right? Really,
Yeah.
This doesn't even have to be your career, but really getting so interested in the value of food and ways and immersing yourself in something like this really changes your life. I mean, I really believe that to be true. So I hope you guys will consider it no matter what you do. If you're someone who's having trouble really making some changes, investing in that amount of time is a great way to do it. So I hope you guys really consider that. I'm doing a retreat in April 24th through 30th in Mexico. So you're going to get an immersion in all of this. There's about 10 spots left. So go to satilife.com and join us for that. And then you're going to get a willpower DVD. I know Carrie doesn't like that word willpower, but I have an explanation about
Well,
willpower.
but when you say it, by the way, though, when you say it, though, I should have actually said that. So when you say it, though, it's a different meaning the way I think that people have said it in the.
Yes.
Well, you bring a positive spin to what it really should mean. So actually, you change that meaning.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, it's the willpower. We don't have to go into that, but we agree. I think we're agreeing. But you guys are going to get a free download for that. So please do it. Enjoy it. It'll help you on your mindset. Share it with your friends. Come to the retreat. do leadership training. There's plenty of information at satilife.com about all the things we're doing. But investigate, immerse yourself in something new, apply yourself, invest yourself in growing these new skills, and being around people that are invested too makes a big difference. So I think we're done. I think we had a great night. It was such a pleasure hanging with you. We could go on all night long.
But Patricia, we could also just talk all night. We could talk back forever. You and I could just keep chatting. Which actually, like I said, like you said, you want to spend time with people, that have similar, missions and goals. And I think that's why we like to chat like this and could do this again all night long. So hopefully we'll do it again. It was so much fun. Thank you, Patricia, for having me.
Yes, you're awesome. I love you so much. Good night, everybody. I hope you guys enjoyed it, and we hope to see you in our circles somewhere soon. May you live a life of thinner peace starting right now. Have a good night.
Bye. Thank you, everyone.
Somebody subscribed. I think someone subscribed to your school already. Could that be? Lucille says thank you. Barbara says thank you. Esmeralda says thank you. Thank you. I loved it. Thank you. Incredibly empowering and enlightening. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Nice work. Great information. Thanks for the info. Thanks for sharing your expertise and joy. Carrie can't read these, so I'm reading. Kendra says thank you. Bonita says, where do you subscribe? Where do you subscribe? To the school? Nutritiouslife.com. I think that's what you're asking. If you have questions, email us. If we didn't answer your questions about where to subscribe,